Moving on, and as parents we tell our kids not to lie, but a controversial new book claims fibbing is what makes us human. In his big book, Born Liars, author Ian Leslie says if you catch a child lying at the age of 3, you should be delighted. But if kids are still lying when they're 7, well, you should start to worry then.
The book also claims good liars tend to end up better balanced people. So are we sending the wrong message to our kids? And how can you tell when you're being had? Parenting expert Dr Michael Carr-Gregg is in Melbourne, and body language expert Allan joins us from Maroochydore. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Michael, are we all born liars?
Well, yes and no. At 2, about 20% of kids are telling lies, but they're not very good at it. But at 4, 90% of kids lie as they begin to discover that their parents aren't mind readers and that they can, in fact, tell their kids fibs. By the time they're 4, about the average 4-year-old will tell a porky every 2 hours.
Whoa. Michael, what about this concept that parents should be delighted to catch a 3-year-old fibbing? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know that you should be delighted. I think you should be impressed with their cognitive skills. To tell a lie, you need to know the truth. You need to be able to manipulate your mind enough to come up with an alternative, and then you need to be able to convincingly deliver it. So while I'm not sure that I'd be delighted, I'd certainly be impressed.
OK. What if children are still lying when they're 7? I thought that's maybe when they're getting good at it.
Yeah, no, that's very, very bad news, because kids who lie, they get negative social feedback. Basically, their credibility, their friendship networks begin to diminish, and kids who feel safe, valued and listened to generally don't tell lies on a continual basis.
All right, Allan, how can we tell when a child is lying?
Well, you know, watching kids is much easier to pick than it is with adults, because to the extent that you lack vocabulary, we tend to make up with gestures and expressions. So if a child's lying, for example, the first thing you look for is hand-to-face contact, which continues through adulthood. So what they'll say is, I didn't do it. You'll get something as obvious as that, which is pretty easy to spot, which comes out nose-touching as an adult. Second thing is looking away, where a kid will look away altogether when they're talking to you, where as an adult, they'll just sort of glance away, normally to the left. Distancing themselves from the subject's an interesting one. So the child might say to you, the doll broke itself, as opposed to I broke it. So, and that translates into adulthood into things like, I did not have sex with that woman, you know, where you're distancing yourself to try to cover it up. Head shaking is a good one. You're shaking your head from side to side while trying to say, yeah, yes, 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 yes. An adult shakes their head and says, darling, I love you, while they're shaking their head. No one believes it. And by about age 10, the kids have learned to use predictable lying phrases, phrases that tell you the lie is likely to about to come, which includes things like, look, to be perfectly honest, look, to tell you the truth, and with all due respect. And, of course, then they go into business and they say things like, with all due respect, which, as you know, means there's no respect at all.
Allan, you wrote a book about lying called Why Men Lie and Women Cry. Do we get better at lying as we get older, do you think?
Well, it becomes harder to spot, and whether you can get away with it depends on how good a reader the other person is. And we know that when it comes to catching lies, we found that women are around 3 times better than men catching lies face to face, and that's part of an evolutionary advantage of being able to read the body language of approaching strangers. Are they going to be friendly or aggressive, and looking at babies that can't speak? So women have hard wiring to pick up pretty well with your lying. So that's why we teach men, do not lie to women to their face. You ring them up.
Yep. Michael, just quickly before we go, what should we be teaching our kids about lying?
Oh, basically that there are 2 types. One is the ones that you shouldn't do. The other is the courteous white lie. Does my bum look big in this? You can get away with that.
Thank you so much, Michael and Allan. Good to talk to you this morning, and I do mean it. Thanks,
Pleasure.
guys.
No, I don't know. You looked up to the left then.
I did it.
With all due respect,
Straight down
gentlemen,
the
partly
camera.
means that. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.